There are various types of pigeons. In Shaanxi, there's a Kungsing pigeon. In Shandong, the Hexiu pigeon. In Guizhou, the Yebi pigeon. In the Henan region, the Fantiao pigeon. In the Wu and Yie regions, the Jijian pigeon. All these are excellent and top-quality pigeon breeds. Additionally, there are Zutu, Dianzi, Dabai, Haishi, Fumuqiu, Huaguyan, and many more with diverse names. Only those well-versed in pigeon keeping can discern them accurately. In Zuping County, there was a young man named Zhang Yuliang who had a particular fondness for pigeons. He diligently sought out pigeon breeds from all over the world, as listed in the pigeon classics. He cared for his pigeons like nurturing babies. When it was cold, he used licorice powder to treat them. When it was hot, he gave them a bit of salt. Pigeons like to sleep, but sleeping too much could lead to numbness and death. Zhang Yuliang spent 10 taels of silver to buy a pigeon in Yangzhou. It was the smallest in size and liked to move around. He placed it on the ground, and it walked in circles without stopping until it died. So, it needed someone to hold it often. At night, he placed it among the flock to startle the other pigeons and prevent paralysis. People called this kind of pigeon Yeyu. Among pigeon enthusiasts in Shandong, Zhang Yuliang's family was the most famous, and he often boasted about his skill in pigeon raising. One night, Zhang Yuliang sat alone in his study when suddenly a young man in white clothing knocked on the door. Not recognizing him, Zhang asked who he was. The young man replied, "I'm a wanderer with no fixed name. I've heard rumors that you raise the most pigeons, which happens to be my greatest passion. I'd like to admire the pigeons you raise." Zhang Yuliang then displayed all the pigeons he had, showcasing a variety of colors, a dazzling array like a tapestry. The young man smiled and said, "The rumors are indeed true. You truly deserve the title of a pigeon connoisseur with an array of pigeons from all over the world. I also raise a couple. Would you like to see them?" Delighted, Zhang followed the young man. Under the moonlight, a desolate scene appeared in the wilderness, and Zhang began to feel suspicious and apprehensive. The young man pointed ahead and said, "Please walk a bit further. My residence is not far from here." After a few more steps, they reached a monastery with only 2 rooms inside the courtyard. The young man led Zhang into the courtyard, where it was dim and lacked any lamps. Standing in the center of the courtyard, the young man imitated the call of pigeons. Suddenly, 2 pigeons flew out, resembling ordinary pigeons in shape but with pure white feathers. They flew as high as the eaves, cooing and wrestling, tumbling over each other whenever they collided. With a wave of his arm, the young man sent the 2 pigeons flying together. He then pursed his lips and emitted a peculiar sound, causing 2 more pigeons to emerge. One was as big as a duck, the other as small as a fist. They stood side by side on the steps, mimicking the dance of cranes. The larger one extended its neck, spread its wings like a peacock displaying its tail, rotating, calling, and jumping as if leading the smaller pigeon. The smaller pigeon flapped up and down, occasionally flying above the head of the larger one. Its wings fluttered like swallows landing on reed leaves, creating a delicate sound like tapping a tambourine. As the larger pigeon's call grew more urgent, its voice became as crisp and pleasant as a stone bell. The 2 pigeons' calls matched harmoniously, intertwining and blending rhythmically. Next, the smaller pigeon took flight, and the larger one swung up and down to play with it. Zhang Yuliang was full of admiration, feeling that his own pigeons couldn't compare. He sighed at his limited abilities. Zhang Yuliang bowed to the young man and implored him to give up the pigeons. The young man didn't agree, so Zhang fervently beseeched him. After the 2 dancing pigeons had flown away, the young man imitated the pigeon call once again, and 2 white pigeons came. He caught them and said to Zhang, "If you don't mind, I'll give you these 2 white pigeons as a gesture of goodwill." Zhang took the 2 pigeons in his hands and carefully examined them. The white pigeon's eyes were amber-colored, radiant and clear, as if there were no separation between them, with a black pupil in the center as round as a peppercorn. When he lifted their wings, the muscles between their ribs looked like sparkling crystals, and their internal organs were visible. Zhang felt a great sense of wonder but still wasn't satisfied, and he begged the young man for more. The young man said, "I have 2 more kinds that I hesitate to present. Now I'm afraid I can't show you anymore." The two were still in disagreement when Zhang's household members arrived with torches. Zhang turned to look at the young man, who had transformed into a white pigeon the size of a chicken, flying into the sky. The courtyard and buildings before his eyes vanished, leaving only a small tomb and 2 cypress trees. Zhang Yuliang and his household members were astonished, and they returned home while cradling the white pigeon. Back home, Zhang Yuliang tried to make the white pigeons fly, finding them unusually docile. They circled and wrestled just like when he first saw them. Although they weren't considered the finest breed among the young man's pigeons, they were still extraordinary. Zhang treasured the 2 pigeons dearly. After 2 years, the pair of white pigeons gave birth to 3 male and 3 female chicks each. Even if friends and family came asking for them, they couldn't obtain any. There was a friend of Zhang Yuliang's father who was a high-ranking official. One day, he visited and asked, "How many pigeons do you have?" Zhang Yuliang cautiously answered a few words and retreated. Thinking the official was a pigeon enthusiast, he considered gifting him a couple of pigeons, but he was reluctant to part with them. He also thought about his elders coming to request pigeons, so he couldn't just give ordinary pigeons to them. Instead, he chose 2 white pigeons, putting them in a cage and offering them. He believed this was a precious gift, surpassing the ordinary. A few days later, when Zhang Yuliang saw the official, he had a smug expression, expecting praise for the pigeons he'd gifted. However, the official remained silent, perplexing Zhang. He made tea with the best tea leaves and offered it to the official in person. The official didn't utter a word of praise even after finishing the tea. Zhang became anxious and couldn't hold back, asking, "How's the tea?" The official lifted his tea bowl and replied, "It's hot." These 2 stories can be chuckled at, just like Zhang Yuliang's gift of pigeons.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.